So hello and welcome back to the Big Lad Podcast. Today it is episode 7 and I'm joined with Amie. How are you doing?
Hey George, yeah, I'm all good, thanks. Hi everyone, nice to meet everyone on the podcast. Yeah, do you want me to say a bit about myself? Or...
Yeah, just give yourself a little bit of an introduction for the people listening and watching.
All right, well, as you guys probably know from George posting about me on social media today, I am a social media influencer. And I also do personal training, amongst other things that we'll get into in the session today. But yeah, my main job is via my Instagram page, where I do various different things, and they're all sort of fitness and motivation and mindset related.
Nice one. So I think, like as you said, you do a lot of social media. We're going to go into how did your account start? Like, what was the reason behind it?
So, over the past, like, obviously 4 years, I've been on a bit of a journey. I started off moving to London to pursue a performance career. And that was like my dream. And then I quickly realized, being in London, how cutthroat the performance industry is and how, it's not sustainable. And I didn't want to just be working as a waitress, which I was doing, working as a waitress and just waiting for my big lucky break. And I've always felt like I really enjoy public speaking and motivating other people. So that was kind of like what spurred me to do it. And then obviously the fitness element came into it. A lot of people that I was bothering with and I lived with at the time were all doing personal training and working in various fitness studios. So I decided to try and get a job in a fitness studio, and I managed to get one. And that was like my first ever job in London, fitness related. And then through that, I was sort of building up my Instagram page, and it started off like I think when I moved to London, like 900 to 1,000 followers. And then I just there wasn't really a solution, not solution, how can I say, like an easy way to how it grew. I didn't just like blow up overnight. It was kind of like a gradual thing. I started to just post more about motivation and fitness, and then I started to network with people, and then I found other people that were doing the same thing as me, and we all kind of had a similar sort of following at the time, and we all wanted to grow our Instagrams, and then it just kind of like built from that, really. Yeah, so that's how it all began.
Just going back to it about the performance stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone should go and check out Amy's Instagram. There's a link in the bio because she puts some fierce dances up every now and again, like little throwbacks.
There needs to be more of those, George. I think the people need to see the
Definitely.
fierceness come back.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, I
so
do.
so serious when you're doing the dancing. It's class.
It's like I'm so happy, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, game face
Yeah,
on.
straight on. And you mentioned about like moving to London and having that sort of network. Did you find that because London is such a busy place that it was easier to grow there, or was it a case of the opposite where it was like a bit oversaturated?
I'd say that, like, I don't, because at the time I didn't actually realize that there was like a London fitness clique. And then over time, I kind of, as I got more established and I was going to lots of different fitness events in London, it was kind of like then I was in this little, I don't know, yeah, this little circle of people in London where, and some girls would travel outside of London to come to these events as well. And then I would meet more people and we follow each other on Instagram, and it would just kind of like grow from there. But I'd say the initial stages, because I wasn't aware of all of this, like intertwining different like fitness cliques in London, I would say that it wasn't really easy either way, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
The girls that I sort of initially networked with on Instagram, some of them were from different countries. Like I initially actually made a like a networking group
right.
because I heard from other people that that was like a really good thing to do. So you put each other in an engagement group. So I was like, okay, cool. So I think I put on my stories like, oh, ladies, I'm looking for a few of you. If you want to join me in an engagement group, we can all support each other. And then this kind of turned into something like, this was like 3 years ago now. And this kind of turned into something that we decided to establish as the International Girl Gang.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember all of this, George, because you've been around throughout majority of
I
this
think I
time.
remember it, yeah. It rings
Yeah.
a bell.
Yeah, we were just like, right, let's just take over the fitness world. Let's do this. So we arranged a meetup in London, and we just were inviting so many girls to it, and yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like a girl flew over from Denmark,
Bloody
like
hell.
yeah. So there was, and then naturally, as time went on, the group chat, like the WhatsApp group chat, turned into a bit of like a therapy chat, and then it was a bit intense, and then everybody just went on with their lives, and like some people have stuck out Instagram since that, and other people have, just not really bothered. And
Yeah.
but at that time, it just seemed to be that we all had this like goal of wanting to be like really big on Instagram, and I think I was quite fortunate to be at a stage where a lot of people seem to want to do that, because I feel like now it's a bit different. Well, I hope not, because I'm launching something to help people with that. I hope there is still demand for it, but I feel like people have got a little bit of a different view as to how social media works now.
Yeah. So just going back to it, so you said this was about 4 years ago, so we're talking about 2017, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I started my Instagram January 2018. And
Wow.
then I was looking back before, because the thumbnail on this YouTube video that's going up is the picture from when we met up at, I think, was it Surge? That was in the September of 2018. So like, I think you were the first person that I met up with from Instagram.
That's great. I remember you coming with your friend.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
were we were meeting our friend who'd moved down to London for work. So there's those two going down, and then he was working during the day, and you invited us down to, was it Surge?
Yeah, so just to let everyone know, so when I said about the first fitness job that I got in London, I had the opportunity to work at a fitness studio called Surge, and George can
Brutal.
George can like vouch for, basically it was a bit of a unique concept, because what we did in the studio was EMS training, so it stands for electrical muscular stimulation. And like at the time, like obviously I was really naive and new, and I was like, oh my god, this is like the best thing ever. It's 20 minutes and you get all of your results. But basically it's kind of like a TENS machine that you use in physiotherapy, so it stimulates your fast twitch muscle fibers like instantly, but that just means that it gives you horrendous DOMs
It
for
was
yeah.
brutal. Like,
Yeah.
I woke up the next day, and like where you sit up to get out of bed, I literally could not sit up without it cramping up, or just in general, just being in pain. I had to literally like slither out of bed. It
Like
was
a little like snake.
honestly, but like we were obviously going around London again the next day. I think we were going out like for a night out that night as well, and we were like hobbling around London. Like, we did so much walking to like tubes and then obviously clubs and stuff. And we were in so much pain. And I think it was only about like 20, 30 minutes. But
Yeah,
kept
like
turning the machine up on us as well. You're
I
horrible.
know, I was like really like messing with you guys. I was like, they
Yeah.
can take it. Yeah, because it in effect it gives you kind of like the feeling of, it's not an electric shock, it's like a really intense vibration
Yeah,
on your muscles.
it's like if you were to tense your arm but like really
Yes.
hard for ages without actually doing it. Like you'd be
Yeah.
stood there, wouldn't you? And like your arm would suddenly just go poof.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's yeah,
Yeah.
I had some people that I was training that like accidentally hit themselves in the head and stuff because like the intensity of it was just
Uh,
yeah.
that was one of the most painful workouts I've ever done, hands down.
I mean, I feel like that sort of stuff is good for like it's like the concept of the Ronaldo ab belt, it's like
Oh
really
yeah, I've seen them.
gonna work. But I mean, people, I guess it's good for like muscle toning and rehab and stuff, but you can't just rely on that alone.
I have a similar machine that helps actually get rid of DOMs. It's like it's a similar setup. You just set it so that basically it pulses your muscles to bring fresh blood round to them, and
Right.
I've found like it really helps with like, getting rid of DOMs. Like especially after I've been playing football or done like really heavy leg day, I'll
Mm,
put them on and I just won't feel anything the next day, or
that's
feel
awesome.
less. So,
Wow.
but I'd never like there's a workout setting on it, and I've done it once just to see what it was like, and it's the same thing. Like it's the same
Bit
as the
like
recovery, just more intense.
you have to wear like a whole suit with it,
Oh
or
yeah. Oh no. These are just like pads. You know, like if you were to go for an
oh
ECG. So
yes, yeah,
sort of
yeah.
similar thing to that. Not like the full suit that we had to put on.
Yeah, we used to have to wear like it was
Yeah,
so
you
much
had to like spray us down.
Right, to like improve the
Yeah.
conductivity of
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you had to
city.
like strip off into like, I think
These
it was
little
like pretty much nothing, wasn't it? And then put the suit on.
and then you come out there covering like, yeah, it's like this black before, it's not like you're naked guys, by the way, it's like this black, it's like you're wearing like tights and a vest.
Yeah.
But obviously for a female that's fine, but for a guy obviously you're definitely, it's like you're wearing long johns.
Yeah, and it's on a street. It was like on a busy street road as well. And there's like people walking past looking in. I was just like, oh wow.
Yeah, people would always like just have a little gander because like what's going on. Mental. Yeah, that's crazy how long ago that was, and
I
that's
know.
when you started, and I had just started as well.
Yeah, that is a long time ago now, isn't it?
Well,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
2018, 19, well, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
Wow.
about 2.5 years, isn't it?
No, it's crazy. Like because like you look at me, don't you? And I think you look pretty similar, but I've definitely changed a lot in that time.
You
And like,
think?
yeah, I think so. And like when you think about 2.5 years, that's actually not that much time.
Yeah. I think I look pretty much the same, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you do. Like I saw that photo. You
Just
can
don't
stand
change.
now and you look the same. And I'm like there with short dark hair. And
Yeah, like yeah, the size difference as well on that photo was quite funny.
well, apart from that, I don't think the size difference has changed.
Yeah, the size difference has probably stayed the same.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've not grown since year 7. So yeah, but
Yeah, for those that don't know as well, on Instagram, I tend to call Amie a pygmy.
yeah, guys, this has been an ongoing thing for
For 2.5 years, pretty much.
2.5 years. And if I've ever had a rant about something, George is like angry pygmy today or happy
Yeah,
pygmy, or
pretty
just
much.
like defines my emotion with the word pygmy, basically. So yeah.
What are you, like 5'2", is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's quite a height difference there. I'm 6'4".
I did I obviously you guys don't know this, but George knows I did a beauty pageant last year. I did the Miss Universe Great Britain pageant, and I'll be doing it again. Oh, sorry, that was the year before, and I'll be doing it again this year as well. But in that pageant, there used to be like a height requirement, and it seems to be that the girls that apply for the pageant, even though it's not required anymore, they just seem to be around that height. So I was the smallest person in the pageant. I remember having a photo with all of these like girls around me, and I'm like there, and they're all like absolutely gorgeous, like 6-foot models.
Like models brought the daughter to a pageant day.
One of my best friends is from the pageant, Charlotte. She's one of my best friends now. She's like 6 foot, this leggy like ginger. You might know actually, George, from oh sorry, maybe not. I'm not too
I'm not
sure.
sure.
You might have just seen her on my Instagram, but
I
yeah.
think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's just really, really tall. And yeah, that's pretty much everybody in pageants. And I just came in, tried to own the small people,
Yeah, it's
equality and all
something
that.
different, isn't it?
Exactly. I was like, maybe I'll be unique.
But going back to what we were talking about before about your account growing. So
Yes.
when you first started, it was the plan to always grow, or at the first was it a bit of fun and then it sort of grew as it went
No,
along?
I always had the intent to grow it. And you know what's really funny? I remember just before I moved to London, I typed in on Google social media experts because I was like, I need to know how to grow followings. I need to know all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy called Jonathan Pollinger, he's a really cool guy, actually. I recommend you guys looking up on Instagram. And he does a lot of like business consultancy and stuff and talks in different colleges about business. But he obviously had like, he's not a social media expert per se. Like he doesn't have a huge Instagram following, but
Yeah.
he has knowledge in lots of different social media engines or whatever you'd call it. But I actually met up with him and he was like, oh, we'll have an initial free consultation and then anything else I would have had to pay him. But I was like, I was so young. I must have been about 20, I think 21 at the time. And I remember we had a meeting the other week because he still interviews me now, like as time goes on. I think he does a podcast and he's like, oh, I just keep seeing your growth. I want to know more about how you're getting to this point. And he said that when I first met him, he was giving me all of this advice. And I was just like, yeah, so how do I get more followers?
Just ignoring everything.
Yeah,
I want
literally
followers.
just like pieing him off. I was like, so you're gonna give me like a golden ticket to how I get more followers then? Or and so yeah, unfortunately now I've learnt the hard way that that's not how you go about things. But yeah, the intent behind it, and the intent is still to keep growing the audience, but it's changed from growing the following to just looking cool and having the gratification, because I went through a big turning point with that, to I want a wide audience now because it's going to help me with my business.
Very nice. So, like, alongside that, obviously quite a lot of people want to work with brands these days. So did you want to work with brands whilst you grew your following, or was that something that just sort of came along and you wanted to grow personally?
No, I always had like the intent to want to work with brands, and it I mean, I didn't really know how it worked and I was a bit confused, but I remember entering into a giveaway for Werewolf clothing.
Yeah.
Um, and some of you might know them. They're not huge, but they're a small clothing brand. And they sent me a free pair of leggings. Then I took a photo with the leggings on. And this was like the first time as well I went to Body Power.
Oh yeah, I
The
like
expo.
Body Power.
And yeah, it's still a really good event. And this was like when I was getting into it, really getting into it, and I took that photo and then they reposted me, and I remember being like, oh my God, I've made it. And then after that, it just kind of like, I don't know, I got really like pally with the owners of the company, and then it just kind of like went from there. And then as my following grew, more brands contacted me, but it wasn't up until last summer, I'd say, or the summer just gone, that I had really nailed how to negotiate with brands and earn like a decent income from it. Like I did a paid collaboration with My Protein, literally just before Christmas. Well, it was like ongoing throughout Christmas as well, and January. And I emailed them and I was like, hey guys, here's my influencer deck. That's something we can also talk about, but I have like a media toolkit now that shows all my insights and stuff. And I sent that to them and I was like, I offer this and this. And they were like, yeah, cool, we've got a budget of £500, we'll pay you to do X amount of posts and X amount of stories.
So yeah, I find that a difficult one with negotiating with companies, because I mean, I don't get a lot of messages about sort of getting free stuff and then doing posts.
Mm.
But previously, I've just done them for free because I've not got the biggest amount of following. And there's always that thought of, well, if I start asking for money, they're just going to say no, and then you don't get a free product. So quite often, like, especially if they're small brands, I'm not that fussed about asking. Like, I'll just take whatever it is and put like a couple of stories up about it. But like, I've spoke to people with a similar following to me, and I've spoke to people with bigger followings, and they're like, you should really be charging for this because you take time to edit it and do this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, but I wouldn't know what to ask for.
See, it's the common misconception with Instagram, and this is something that I've learned as well. I used to sort of have that. I'm on a course right now that's helping me, like with my barriers around money, because I had a big issue with that as well. It's like imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
where you're like, who am I to charge that because I've only got this? And there is actually a lot of people on Instagram that don't have even as much of a following as you, and they'll be earning more, or they'll be earning money.
Well, yeah, they'll be earning more than me because
Yeah,
I'm
they'll
not
be earning
charging
money.
anything.
Yeah, I understand that it's like that awkward conversation, and that's something that you have to work on. You have to work on that like barrier between, because because even if you put it out there, like say to a brand, oh yeah, I'll do this for X amount and this, even if you do that and you don't say it with integrity, the brand will just, it's like anything, isn't it? If a client came to you and said, oh, how much do you charge for this? And you're like, oh, around £50, maybe 60, and then you're a bit wishy-washy about it, they
Yeah.
immediately lose respect for you, and they don't think that. Whereas if you come and you're like, okay, guys, I've edited a few posts for you now, or I've done this, you're really happy with my content. How's about, I know my following's not huge, but has about £100 for X that amount of, I don't know,
Yeah.
and you can like draft an email to send to these companies, but it depends on what you want out of it. But you just got to weigh up whether you know, because there is time, money is time, or time is money, should I say, and money is time. And if it's spending, you do really good content, and if it's obviously taking you time after your day job to be editing these things,
Yeah.
then you know you should be getting paid for it, because they're, in effect, like, brands are using influencers as a free marketing service. They're really sneaky about it.
Well, that's exactly why I've my best performing YouTube video is about why I left the brand last summer because of a similar thing. Like, we were getting literally nothing for what we were posting, and wasn't even getting, like, you'd put like a story up,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't even share it on their account, but they'd share someone getting a delivery that was nothing to do with the brand, just the customer. And like, it got to the point where I counted up how many times I tagged them during lockdown, and like got 3 shares back, and I think I'd shared about 70 stories.
They were massively taking advantage.
Yeah, so if you anyone listening wants to go and watch that video, it's from about August last year. It'd be quite easy to find as well. Just put my YouTube on most popular, and it's the first one.
Not mentioning any brand names or obviously slating any brands, but are you able to say what brand it was? Or
Yeah, BND.
oh god, will they
Yeah,
do those horrendous booty bands and all of that?
yeah,
I say horrendous, I suppose booty bands are, well, glute bands or whatever, but yeah,
yeah.
that's not good.
No. And to be fair, I'd never even bought one. I'd borrowed one. And that's how I ended up getting in touch with them. Well, they get in touch with me because I tore my ACL two years ago.
Right.
So I just used one to help with rehab. Tagged them a few times and got shared, and then next minute I was at a launch event.
Happy days.
Yeah.
The
So
thing is, they massively dipped out there though, because if you think about the value that you added to them because of the fact that you're a guy using female
yeah.
band, you know, like that's massively like opening up the market.
Well, that's the reason I was there, because apparently that's what they wanted to open up into, and then never kept up with it.
If they wanted to open up to that, then they should have valued you more, you know? But
It is
anyways.
what it is. Lesson learned. Moved on, and yeah, that's. So you mentioned before about a project that you're currently working on. Can we find out a little bit more about that?
You can, because yeah, I can't wait to share with everyone what it's about. So basically, like, over the past 4 years of me building up my social media page, it's been like a journey of finding my own self-discovery in a way
Deep.
where you're like, where's this going? In a way where, you know, your following and Instagram grows much more effectively when you have either a journey, or you're telling a story, or you have a, I don't know, you're well known for something like being an athlete. You know, all of these things really help when you're trying to grow your Instagram profile.
Is that why mine's not growing? Am I not on a journey?
No, but it's, and I just felt like with mine, I was like, you look at my page and you're like, Amie dances, she sings, she just personal trainer, she does this, she does that, and it's like dotting around the place. Like, what's my actual like niche? So at
Everything.
last, yeah, everything, like, that's it, everything. And that's also not good, because
Yeah.
you're not giving your audience specifics. So there was that going on for, like, obviously the duration of the growth of my Instagram. And then I got to a point when obviously the pandemic happened last year, where I was working for a few fitness studios, and the main one was F45.
Yeah.
And that's like a really big, well-known fitness studio in London, and they've branched out to obviously all over the world. They're an Australian brand. And yeah, I was working for them, and then because I had done some stuff for like some other online fitness platforms before, I was really used to work, like being in front of the camera. So when obviously we had to move everything online, I was really comfortable with that. But it got to a point where F45, the company that I was working for, were kind of like using me and using my following to boost their business and to help them throughout the
Yeah.
pandemic. So I just felt like I was putting in a lot to that and I wasn't getting enough back. I was getting paid an absolute pittance. It was ridiculous. So I made the plunge last year to completely quit all fitness studios that I was working for and just do social media influencing. And then I also worked for a company that I still work for now, and I teach some online fitness classes for them, but that doesn't detract away from my own brand.
Yeah.
So then last year I was kind of in the midst of just working with loads of different brands and stuff like that. But I never felt like 100% fulfilled because I was like, this isn't, I'm just a product of somebody else's brand still. And this was still like, I just felt like it was always an effort to post
Yeah.
because I was just posting as much as I was getting paid like £250 for a post. It was just like, it wasn't every single post, obviously, because you're never going to be paid that for every single post on
Be
Instagram.
nice. I'd
Yeah,
post 10 times a day.
yeah, like literally, you'd be absolutely rolling in it. But unfortunately, that's not how social media works. And it just got to a point where I was like, I don't like. I'm obviously loving doing this, but I'm worth more than just being a product of somebody else's brand. And then the back end of last year, the guy that I teach fitness classes for, he's an entrepreneur and owns his own sort of like coaching program thing. And he was like, I'm launching this course called Money Muscle. And now Money Muscle is like, it's based around the book by Jeff Walker that I actually have by here that I'm reading right now called Launch. And it's a really good book, guys. If you ever want to read about launching your own online business, this is awesome. And it just, like I said, it taught me a lot about money and like getting into that mindset of negotiation, and it's basically taught me how to launch my own course, my own online course. Right. So this is where this all came about. And then this led me to my secret project that I have been working on for about 3 months now, where initially I was going to launch a project where I was going to be helping empower women on Instagram, making them feel worthy through fitness classes. And like, it was going to be like a journey of self-love and self-discovery. And I was like, do you know what? There's such an oversaturated market for people doing that right now. The one thing that people always come to me for is to ask me what you've just asked me throughout this whole podcast, George. How do you grow your following? This, that, and the other. I was like, why am I not using that as a tool to help other women? And I'm just saying women at the moment because I'm trying to make it niche.
Yeah.
So the project that I'm launching, if anybody's watching this and thinks they might benefit from this, I'm going to be launching a 12-week program, or 12-week course, should I say. And the course is going to entail lots of different modules, just basically setting you up to be a really successful influencer, growing your Instagram, learning how to negotiate with brands, like all of the good stuff that I wish I had known at the start. And also doing it in a way where you're really, really growing your audience in an effective way, where they're going to actually be a beneficial audience to you, and you're not just going to have following for the sake of having a following. If so, say if a person comes to me now and they're like, oh, I want to get into fitness influencing, but I'm a personal trainer, what my goal is to help them grow their page so that they can work with brands but also pick up clients through their page as well. And there's going to be lots of things that are going to be offered on the course. There's going to be also a mental health module where I'm going to be talking about how to differentiate between detaching from Instagram and make like understanding your boundaries with that. There's going to be loads of different stuff on there, but yeah, it's going to really teach you guys how to earn money through social media, and home in on your brand and grow your page.
Sounds really interesting because I don't think I've seen anything similar to that on Instagram yet. And there's a potential that you might get a client called Georgina coming up. I'm going to pretend to be a woman and get on your class.
I was like, where is he going with this? How does he know who's going to be watching the podcast before it even happens?
It didn't even click, no.
That's brilliant. I mean, I'm gonna make it niche to where, like, the thing is, what I've been taught on my course is like to make the more specific you make it, the more it looks better, because you're not just like reaching out. But then if somebody like yourself does reach out and say, I think I'd be on this, I benefit from this course, I would definitely have you on board, George. It'd be a pleasure, you know?
Yeah. Well, you've actually given me a lot of help over the last couple of years anyway, especially when I first started out. I didn't have a clue. I just used to
Honestly,
nag
I
you so much.
rolled up through mine and George's messages over like at the beginning. He was like, well, I can't even remember, but you just would ask me like what I do and all of this. And
Yeah, because I, like, obviously when you first start out, there's not that many things to sort of get you going because you've got to get the ball rolling, and I just couldn't get the ball rolling.
like, you've been so consistent, and like I know that was a big breakthrough for you working for My Protein, you know, and like
Yeah, it was.
and like this is the thing, that was like your goal for so many years.
Yeah, so when I first started out, I had no intention of doing it to like work with brands. I just did it.
Really?
Yeah, I just started it out because I wanted to meet other people that were into fitness, really, and also helping people. Even though I wasn't like a PT or anything, like I would have had at the time about 6.5 years of gym experience, and sort of when I was rowing as well, so sort of an elite level. Um, so at the time, if I put a post up and it helped one person, then job done for me. And then you obviously start getting a few messages from brands and stuff as you start growing. And quite often they are the ones where it says, like, come and work for us and we'll give you a 25% off personal code and give you nothing back. And it's like,
And then you can pay for postage and packaging and all
yeah,
of
I was like, right, sound. And then I'd always been using My Protein for like probably the last 4 or 5 years anyway. And then when I had a lot of mates, like through meeting them through Instagram, that were working with My Protein, I was like, well, why can't I?
they're doing it, I want to do
Oh
it.
yeah, exactly. Like so many people that I was like speaking to on a daily basis were all sponsored by My Protein. I was just like, I buy this stuff and like all the time, and then eventually it happened. But
Just
it was never the intention to sort of work with them. It just
yeah.
happens, and this like I get messages now off like young lads mainly about like 17, 18, 19 coming to me going like, how do you get sponsored by My Protein? I'm like, leave me alone.
This is the thing, and this is where like I kind of felt like the niche in the market came in
Yeah.
for me, you know, because I was like exactly the same thing as you. People want to know this stuff. People look up to you,
Quite
and
often you look at like we've said, you've got to provide value and stuff to people. Like you look on these people's accounts, and with the lads, 9 times out of 10 it's a topless photo in a mirror, and then with a girl it tends to be a booty
okay.
pic in the mirror. And it's
Yeah.
like that doesn't provide value to anyone whatsoever. Like you might have loads of likes on it because people just click it, scroll, click it, scroll. You need to have some sort of value.
And this is something that I learned the hard way. I used to do it. I was guilty of it. I'm going to post something because I know it's going to get more likes.
Yeah.
And now I don't really like I obviously I've been going through personal stuff. I've not been posting as much on my page at the moment anyways, but now I like my captions. For me, you know, I'm a bit of a rambler with a long caption, and
Yeah.
a lot of people are kind of used to that on my page though, because it's always had a good response, you
I'm
know.
the same. I always start typing. Like I always think I'll put like a quick, witty sort of caption and be dead
Not
cool.
you, not you.
And then next minute it's like a whole page long. I'm just like, wow, that really developed.
That that's expanded quite
Yeah,
drastically. I
like
look at my
0 to 100.
notes and I'm like, oh, would I read that if I scroll
Yeah,
down?
exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah, post.
yeah. I'm like, I'm staying true to myself.
Even if they don't read it, they'll drop a like. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. It looks like we read it. That's all that matters. No, but people do like that stuff, and it's been interesting for me as well. Like being more raw on my page, and
Yeah.
I realized like how actually it's like being a bit of a journey of self, like why I say self development. It's like I I realized how many barriers I actually had in the way of actually being the real me on my page.
Yeah, I have that. Like I was saying the other day to actually, I think it was my mum, said I'm a completely different person in the house with my mates on social media. Like there's 3 different Georges. And I swear to God, if everyone knew the George that's like is around the house, you'd probably think I was a complete and utter weirdo.
I think that's the good. Like, I think that's the good that you can put on. Like,
It's
I
not even
mean,
like putting it on though. Like it's just I stop certain things in
yeah.
situations.
Do you feel like it's just like barriers in the way?
Um, no,
The
but
fear of judgment.
um, you know what I'm like. Not much bothers me. um, I don't know. I
So
don't know what it is. I think, yeah,
it's an interesting one. Yeah, I realized it is hard. It's like a battle with yourself. Like I posted some stories over the past couple of days that I probably would never have posted ever, and I spoke really raw. And for me, I immediately wanted to delete them.
yeah. But you got a
And
really good response, though, didn't you?
200 messages in my
Bloody
inbox.
hell, someone's popular.
Well,
Showing off
for
now.
the extensions,
Just, I've got all
yeah,
these followers and all these messages.
and all this hair. No, it's just good. Like this is the real raw stuff that people want
Yeah,
to see, but it's just finding a balance. Because I guess if you're too raw, then but then is there a balance anymore? Like like James Smith PT, look how raw he is, and he
yeah,
has he has an amazing response. But yeah, like obviously I think I want to put elements of that into it, but I think my main kind of goal right now is to just help other people with I just hope that this course, feel like everything happens for a reason, and I feel like this is the time for me to launch this course, and hopefully people will actually find the service useful and want to pay for it.
yeah. I think there's definitely a benefit there, but like you said about being raw, like I've probably been a bit more than usual, especially over lockdown. I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but like through, I think it was the second lockdown, I really could not be bothered working out, and just because of like how cold it was, I couldn't be bothered going out the warm house into a cold garage. Like it just didn't appeal to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
And like usually I get quite a lot of messages like saying like how I stay so motivated all the time, how I stay so consistent with working out. And I think Instagram is a place where it is so easy to make yourself look like you're something you're not. Like a lot of people put a lot of stuff up like that they posted ages ago, or like old photos, old workouts to make it look like they've been working out. Whereas I got to the point I was just like,
You were just sat there with your Oreos.
yeah. And then like I'd put like stories up on a weekend when I've been drinking until like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like
People
people do it.
that like balanced life. Like I think Instagram has definitely taken a change as well over the years. I think it's different now to how people were before, and I think myself has realized now that just being what I want other people want. I think other people want to see of me. Sorry, it's not getting my bank account any benefits, and
Yeah.
it's not giving me any benefits for myself. If you go around doing things to please other people all the time, like if you want to post something like that, I feel like posting too much of that is like, well, I don't know, is there ever too much there? If you want to post a lot about your personal life, that's okay. Like some people like to, some people like to take elements back, but I think your followers would really benefit from seeing that you don't always train. People will probably
Yeah.
see the condition that you're in and be like, oh my god, I need to train all the time to be like that. And it's like actually the reality is, you couldn't be asked because it was fucking freezing.
Basically, well, saying that I still worked out a little bit, but just nowhere near as much as I usually would.
Yeah,
So
you train a lot normally, and that's fine. Like to not.
I think I did, if I remember rightly. I think it was still like 12 or 13 workouts over the month,
Oh,
which
oh
still
my
sounds like a decent amount, but like quite often it'd just be sitting on the Peloton for like 20, 30 minutes and doing not much.
You're doing something. And I think that's what people
Yeah.
kind of with exercises. Like I used to think that I'd have to kill myself every single day and work out. And now, like, if I'm not feeling energy levels wise, I'll just do yoga, and I'm like, that's fine. I benefit from that. It's okay, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, going back to your little project,
Yeah.
when can we see it? When will
So
it be happening? And has it got a name as well?
it does have a name. The name is the Fitfluencer program, or I don't know whether it's going to be called the Fitfluencer course or program or just Fitfluencer. And I was actually meant to launch. I'm going to be doing like a presentation. I don't know. Some of you might know what webinar is or a masterclass, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. I'm going to actually put a post up about it this evening, and then I'll have like a funnel ready this week where you can click and sign up to the masterclass. And then that's going to be like an hour's masterclass where you can come and join me, and I'm going to break down the course, break down some of your barriers as well, and like just really make you guys understand that, you know, this is beneficial for you. And then hopefully if you want to join me afterwards, then yeah, we can chat about that.
So, what date will that be then? The 10th? Wednesday
Yeah,
the 10th?
so Wednesday
And
10th, 10:30.
is that going to have its own Instagram page?
5:30, not 10:30. Jesus. No, I don't think so.
You're just going
I
to run
think
it straight through your account, which
I tried
is Amie
to,
B Fit _.
and you got that right. Amie B Fit _. Don't forget the underscore, guys. Yeah, I tried to launch my own sort of Instagram page first lockdown for all of my Zoom classes called Train with Aim, and it's just really hard to traffic everybody through to the next.
Yeah, I found that because I've got a separate Instagram with the Big Lad Podcast. I am going to start posting more in it though. So what I'm going to start doing is taking little clips from each podcast and post them. Because at the moment, I literally post this week's guest and then the thumbnail to say that it's like live on YouTube.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's good to
yeah,
have like a mover.
I'm going to try and get a backlog of clips to post regularly.
Yeah, you just gotta like give people teasers and stuff of
Yeah.
things. And yeah, I think it's quite hard to, like, some people have really successful like other Instagram pages, but I think if you get most traffic from your Instagram page, then that's where you
I
should.
sort of do both. I put stuff between both and then just share it on each of them at the moment.
It's good that you're able to do. I get quite stressed as well with like a crossover of platforms. I'm like, considering I do social media, like I get really overwhelmed quite easily. Um, so for me, I think just having that one like focus. So all of the information about the Fitfluencer course, guys, will be on that, on my main page. And it's going to be, just to conclude, it's just going to be an interactive course. So don't like be worried thinking you've got loads of coursework to do. It's literally going to be a weekly Zoom, maybe 2 Zooms a week, one where we all chat, another one where it's going to be a Q&A. And I don't want any more than, you know, I'd say 15 to 20 people maximum, but probably less than that, because I want to make it really personal so that we can really home in on what you need.
You might have a struggle with only having 15 or 20. I think there's going to be quite a lot of people interested in this.
Not when they see the price. I'm joking. I'm worth that much. No, it's worth it, guys. If you want to invest in yourself, you got to do it. You know, how many times have you paid for something on social media or something to help you, you know, and you just like little bits here and there. Sometimes, you know, you invest in a PT course, it's what, $1,000 because you've got to. You know, I wish that I had something like this, somebody saying, oh, I'm going to offer you this to help you with your social media and to help you with your PT course after I'd done my PT course, you know. So it's beneficial if you want to actually learn the logistics of things. It, yeah, definitely helps.
I might join in on the webinar and just have a listen in.
I'd love to have you on my webinar. Imagine if it's just you.
Imagine just.
We'd be back on here like this.
Hi, Amy.
Uh,
Yeah, I'll get you back on the podcast. How did the course go? Well,
That's this woman called Georgina on the honestly though, guys, like if you are listening to this, please join my webinar. is really going to be beneficial. No, like I don't want it to be sort of like a forced thing. I just want people to realize that like this is beneficial for them, and if they want to join, then join. If not, it's cool. Like even if you join and you don't feel like it's for you afterwards, that's fine. Like it's
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to speak about before we wrap up that we've not mentioned?
I think we've just rambled and chatted all of the points. Yeah, I think I'm
Which
pretty
provided
happy.
a lot of value.
We have. I mean, I feel like your Big Lad podcasters are going to be very happy with this. I hope.
I hope so. Really disappointed. Loads of dislikes on YouTube. Waste of the
Yeah.
time.
Please like me. I promise. But yeah, no, I think I'm really happy with how everything's gone, and I hope people will find value in this session.
I'm sure they will. So, first of all, thank you for coming on the podcast, Amie. It was good to have a chat. And if you've got this far and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you drop a like and subscribe below if you're new. And we will see you in the next one.